Thank you everybody for coming out today. My name's Garry Simmons.
And I am Heath, Bair.
And we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about ChatOps and VMware automation. So let's go ahead and get the disclaimer out of the way, as you guys have seen a couple times today, and you'll see a couple more times throughout the week. So ChatOps, what is ChatOps? ChatOps, these are a lot of the definitions you can just find on the internet about it. It's an operational paradigm shift in the way we do things today. So a lot of you guys use ChatOps, your local instant messengers inside your company. Maybe you have a persistent chat that's rolled out, or maybe you just log onto your banking website and you get support through the little chat window that pops up. Usually you're talking to a chat bot or something like that. That's essentially chatbots or ChatOps at a very high level. It's unifying the communications that you currently have going on inside your operation. So taking those communications, trying to put those communications to work for you. When somebody IMs you, you want to be able to handle whatever the work you're doing inside that instant message and not have to log into a bunch of different systems. So we want to take that and roll our data inside of the chat operations. So any of the data that you're going to be accessing throughout your environment, you want to be able to get that available to you as easy as possible. And you want everybody in your environment to also be able to get the access to that data as easy as you can. It's a self-documenting system. It's not always the prettiest looking thing, but as you're typing in a persistent chat, everything's self-documented, everything keeps stayed there forever. Anytime you want to add anybody else into that conversation, it's automatically available for them to go back and look at the entire history. And we'll show you a couple demonstrations that we're going to try and do 2 live demonstrations here today and show you this actually in principle. But you'll have all that information readily available for you. And the other big thing we want to hit on is this is all about collaboration, right? You've already heard a couple presentations today of people talking about making sure the information is easily accessible and you're not the only one that has that information, and not getting into a pigeonhole of trying to work on something too long without grabbing extra support into that. So collaboration is really the key here into getting some of these tasks done.
And we've always done ChatOps. You know, water cooler, you're talking to your buddy, you pull a couple of guys together, you go into a conference room, you try to work on a problem together. That's what ChatOps is. It's a community, you pulling people together, you're working on it together, and you pull everybody's information together to try to solve a problem quickly.
So ChatOps and problem solving. What are some of the things that you can do in ChatOps? So real-time report generating, being able to integrate with your logging tools. So APIs is a really big thing here. And if you guys aren't doing a lot of work with APIs today inside your organizations, you're wrong. Everything that you're doing should be involved some kind of way in APIs, whether you're writing an API to front end something or you're looking at to purchase an application that has an API in front of it. And that same thing that goes with your hardware. This is all in the sense of making information readily available in your environment and really being able to integrate it into everything that you have. Managing your infrastructure, you want to be able to bring some of that stuff directly into ChatOps. So you want to be able to build VMs, you want to be able to destroy those same VMs, create data stores, maybe even create a MySQL database into your favorite public cloud provider. So there's all sorts of different things that you can bring into here, but probably one of the most things that we hear a lot about today is deploying code and infrastructure from chat, right? So code is really big because ChatOps always comes from, typically comes from the development side, and then it works its other ways into infrastructure, things of that sort. So you see a lot of people theorizing about using ChatOps to pull code from your source provider that you use online and then deploy that inside your infrastructure so it's always up to date. And the real key to ChatOps is make it quick and easy. You want to be able to have anybody in your company, whether it's somebody sitting on your front end sales or somebody in a high technical level, be able to go into this chat operation and see exactly what's going on and be able to ask for information in a simple way. Heath and I have spent a lot of time working with REST APIs and understand JSON envelopes and all this other stuff, and we'll go into that a little bit more. And the key is to not have your end users have to go through all the pain that you went through, or even other people on your technical staff, right?
All right, so click me. All right, so like Garry was talking about, ChatOps is your technical discussion room. You get together, you have a problem, you pull people together, and you also pull bots in. And the bots can help you leverage external APIs. You can teach bots to help your manager. You can teach bots to help people that maybe don't have the permissions to do the things that they need to do. You can set them up publicly, privately. You get an easily stored history of everything that's going on. And we'll show you in a demo real quick what we're talking about here. You have lots of products that you could use, you know, from your Skype rooms, Rocket Chat, which is just a Slack open source product. You have HipChat. You even go back to old IRC days. I don't know if you ever remember IRC days, but everybody had a bot in IRC, right? Pull in a simple bot that did stupid stuff for you. But that's what ChatOps is. You bring bots in, you bring people in, and you try to solve problems quickly, and you keep the history of what happened.
So we're going to get into a live demo here, and what we want to show you is everything that's been done today has been written 100% in PowerShell. We're using Power CLI on the back end to accomplish a lot of these actions. And as we get towards the end of the presentation, we'll give you a big kind of how all this stuff came to be. So let us get into a live demo here. So how many times are you guys sitting at work and your boss sends you an IM message and he's asking for some kind of report or something along those lines? So bear with me, I'm typing live here. So we'll see how this goes. So, all right. So my boss, Heath, is acting as my boss today, asked me, do you have the data store report? Not yet. Hold on. So I'm going to tell him to hold on at this point, and this is where we're actually going to integrate the bot into our chat room here, and we're going to see if this bot will be able to help us out here. So we're going to look at the bot. The bot here is called Simba, and you can see the bot's just been added into the room, and I'm going to say hi to the bot to make sure he is there. Hi. So I've just talked to the bot. The bot has now responded. It has looked up my name in Active Directory, and it has addressed me directly, and now this conversation is persistent. It runs on a SQL database on the back end, and now it knows that it's talking directly to me in this particular chat room. So it says, Gary, hope your VMworld presentation goes well. Well, it seems to be going pretty well so far. Hopefully that'll keep with us. So is there anything you can help me with? Simba, yes. There is. And we'll go ahead and create a data store report here. All right, so my boss is needy, needs this data store report. So what Simba is going to actually go out and do, he's going to spin up a job in the background in PowerShell, leveraging Power CLI, and then it will actually run this report, and then it's going to graph the report in real time and return it back to our room here. So you can see that using PowerShell, Power CLI, this bot is monitoring this room. It is looking for its name to be called directly. And then once you call that name and you specify certain keywords to the bot, it will then determine, based on those keywords, what you're actually asking it to do. So it has now generated a data store report. So you can see the black bars are the size of each the data stores attached to my vCenter, and the green bars here are actually the amount of space that we're currently being used. And this report was actually ran in real time, so this is live data coming out of our VMware environment. So let's go here. I have a feeling that my boss has another request. So the marketing team needs a VM, and they need it like now. Okay, so no, I didn't see the email. When did you send it? So let's see how long ago my boss sent me this email here, and he'll get back on his keyboard and type to me when he sent me that email. And he sent me 2 minutes ago. So how many times do you have this conversation, right? We all have these wonderful systems that we work with every single day. We need this request, and we need you to create this VM, and it goes through this wonderful curated process all of our companies have. Well, we always have the one-offs that come to us where this needs to be done right now because such and such is VP or CIO came down and they're mad because they didn't realize the request process took 10 years to get your VM built. So we're going to talk to Simba again, and let's see what functionality Simba has here. So one of the key things to a chatbot is being able to ask it for help. So we're just going to say @Simba help, and Simba will respond back with some of the commands that it can actually execute to create some things. It can actually do a lot more for this, but for this presentation, we're narrowing things down so you guys can see exactly what we're trying to hint at here. So we know that Simba can run a data store report, Simba can flip a coin, Simba can also do a lot of other things. So Simba, my boss is not good. I really need a new, look, it can even handle we'll do some weird capitals in there just to show you guys this isn't, it can actually handle these different things. So I really need a new Linux VM, like now. Please, no. And we'll just throw some other things, see if we can confuse it for our live demo. So we just asked our bot for a new VM. The request has went into motion, and our VM has been built, and the ID is 621. So if we hop over to our ESX environment here, you should see here, hopefully in a moment, a new VM. There you can go. You see our VM being populated. The VM has been created, and the ID is 621. So we're going to head and refresh this, and you can see that we've also, the VM's powered off right now because it's just my lab, but you can see I've also put in some data here. Simba's also smart enough to go in and destroy the VM as well as create it. So you can see the name of the VM, the ID that's inside my SQL database that my actual bot will recognize this virtual machine as, the creation of it, the time, and the termination date of it. All right, so let's get back into the slideshow. And there's somewhere. Get the PowerPoint back up here. All right, and we'll, all right.
All right, so to get back to it a little bit, ChatOps, everybody has APIs. Everybody's like, okay, make an API, have an API, buy an API. But not everybody can talk to APIs, knows how to talk to APIs, knows how to program things. So that's where bots can help out with. So we looked at bots. We brought bots on board. All right. We started taking a look at, okay, so bots themselves need to talk to other bots. So how can you message bots? How can bots talk to bots? In the next slide, I'll show you a little bit here. We thought of, okay, so everybody knows how to talk JSON, so what if bots actually knew how to talk to other bots through JSON commands? So we came up with, go ahead, flip to the next page.
So before we get to that.
Am I going too fast?
No, before we get to that, I just wanted to kind of chime in here. So before we get to that, a lot of the work we already do today, accessing APIs, is through JSON, right? So another way for bots to talk to each other, it makes sense to use JSON. It's something that's already been out there on the internet. It's well documented. Everybody knows how to use it. So why don't we use that same terminology to roll into a persistent chat window, make a dedicated room for all the bots to talk to each other, and then they can go ahead and pass JSON to each other to accomplish a certain task. Now I get all the different things on this. Well, what happens if the chat window goes down? Well, then you wouldn't be talking to the bot now, would you? So the API would also be down at that point if you had a service that went down also. So it's just kind of one of the things we talked about. We've talked about having a concierge bot that would essentially sit in one of these manicured rooms, and it would understand what you're doing. Because one of the things about ChatOps is we want to be able to enable one bot to accomplish tasks another bot can't do. So if my bot can't do something, I want you to be able to still ask my bot for it, and then he would be smart enough to go and talk to Heath's bot to accomplish that task and then respond back appropriately.
Or if it doesn't know how to accomplish the task and it doesn't know where to go, maybe it just throws the task up in a general room and see who picks it up.
So we've already accomplished this, but we found that it's actually really hard to demonstrate. So we're just going to...
we have a little bit of it.
Yeah, we have a little snippet of what that conversation looks like.
All right, so here's a bot. The bot has no idea how to talk to a relational database. So it has something that it wants to store. It wants to store some request information from Garry. So it throws it out there, hey, SQL bot, will you store this for me? Because it doesn't know anything about databases. And SQL bot grabs it and stores it and returns a reference number. Now, if I want to go back and pull it back out of the database, I just use my reference ID to get it back. So here's one bot that doesn't know how to talk to a database. You have another bot that just does database work, and they're talking to each other and asking each other to do stuff for each other. So you can start to wire your bots together. So maybe a bot comes in, is being asked to build a VM but doesn't know how to. He throws it here. The one that does know how to build a VM builds it and sends it back for the bot to send back to the customer. So you can start tying microservices together through bots.
And by no way are we saying like this is the gold standard to do this stuff. This is just the way that we theorized this could work, and we actually put this into practice and are using it We're working on getting a release to be able to publish some of this code out to you guys, so you can see how the bot that we built, because there's actually no bot framework involved in this bot. It was completely written out of PowerShell, where it calls the REST interface of the persistent chat and monitors for its name, and can detect when it's been removed or put into a room, so it's not doing unnecessary calls and all that kind of other stuff. So just kind of going back to Power CLI, and to me, Power CLI, and you've heard a couple Power CLI and PowerShell sessions already today, it's the keys to the castle, right? It allows you to do a lot of extra functionality very quickly. It allows you to do a lot of reporting and manage your environment at another level outside of the GUI interface, which can be quite cumbersome at times. Lambda, we'll get into that here shortly, but Lambda is basically just a new castle with new keys that gives you a ton of functionality that you'll be able to utilize inside of your infrastructure today. And there are some really great things that you can do with Lambda functions out there in the environment and tie those back into your environment as well as other public cloud providers. Automation, that's one reason a lot of us come to these conferences, is just see what a lot of people are doing with automation. And there's a lot of stuff going out there, from reporting to building VMs to really taking some complex tasks of getting third-party orchestration engines tied into some of the infrastructure that you have inside your environment. And with that said, we'll roll into our last demo here.
Hey, Gary. So I don't like keyboards anymore. Can we do this without a keyboard?
So I think we can do that without a keyboard.
All right, let's do it.
So what we're going to do now is we've been kind of theorizing here a way forward to see how we could do VMware builds and some reporting on our environment using an Echo. So Alexa, open Simba.
Hello, my name is Simba. You can ask me to build a new Windows or Linux VM, or how about a MySQL database?
Tell me about yourself.
Hi there. My name is Simba, which stands for Simple and Interactive Message Bot Automation. Is there something I can help you with?
Stop.
I hope I was able to help you. Goodbye.
Okay, so you see that we have an Alexa here. This Alexa is tied into an application framework that we've built, and it's tied into this virtual environment that we have here. And I will ask her to create a VM for me. Alexa, tell Simba to create a new Linux VM.
Your Linux VM is now being built in VMware. Your build ID is 622.
So you can see that she's now triggered an operation in the back end where she's going to go out and create a new VM inside my environment. And we should see that. There you go. There's the task pop up, and you can see the new VMs being built live in front of you. We don't have anybody out in the audience actually doing any of this stuff right now. It's going to finish up with some of the tasks. And now, Alexa, ask Simba what the status of 622 is.
Your requested item is currently in a powered off state.
So she recognizes the powered off state of the VM right now. Alexa, tell Simba to start 622.
Your requested item 622 is currently being powered on.
So you'll see the task come in. Our VM just went to a powered on state. Since this is my personal lab and it's a nested environment, I can't do too much here, but you can see that the VM is being built. The same tasks are being kicked off. If you go into the VM, you can see all the same information as we did on the other VM. So this is just a couple of the things that we have been able to integrate and do with, and we have it doing some other functions, building in public cloud providers, as well as being able to monitor our environment all through this Echo device that we have here on stage. So with that, I'm going to swap back to the presentation, and we'll give you kind of an idea of what's going on here. All right, so what we want to do is give you the diagram on how the Alexa here is actually, yeah, she's very sensitive to hearing her name, so I have to mute her. But we'll just give you a quick idea on how all this is tied together. So what we did to start off this entire process is, how do we want to accomplish this, right? And what it started with was building an API that sits in front of a SQL database. So as you can see on the right side of the screen, about halfway down, there's an API interface that we built using Node.js. That Node.js then talks to a SQL database. So when a new request comes in, it writes some information into a SQL table to say, hey, there was a request that just came in for a new VM. And if a lot of you guys have echoes or know how a lot of the applications work, most of the applications trigger a request and then they rely on an application, or most of the skills trigger a request and then rely on an application to make sure it's actually handled properly on the back end. So that's what we're doing here. We're writing information to a SQL database, and then there's a PowerShell application that we wrote together that's sitting on a server in between our public and hybrid cloud models, and then that picks up the SQL database information, triggers the Power CLI script to then build inside the correct infrastructure. So one of the things we really wanted to do here and really kind of show as far from an automation standpoint is you no longer need to request which public cloud provider your end user wants it in or your own environment. So when somebody makes a request based on them saying Linux or Windows or something else, you can predefine saying, okay, these go into this public cloud provider and this goes into our internal cloud that we're using here. So we've done a lot of that work on the back end. If you say certain requests to this Echo, it will actually publish in other public cloud providers out there on the market. And then the chatbot essentially works the same way. The chatbot is a PowerShell application that we wrote, and that also calls the same REST interface and responds back through, and then all that stuff is stored in the SQL database to respond back. So that is just a little demo of kind of some of the stuff we've been working on over the past month and how you can integrate ChatOps inside your environment. And with that, we'll let Alexa, we're done, cancel.
Try again.
Yep, cancel. We'll try this again. Alexa, tell Simba we're done here.
Thanks for having Heath, Garry, and myself, Simba, here today. We hope you've learned and seen some cool, inspiring technology. Enjoy the rest of VMworld 2017. Goodbye.
And with that, we'll hang around for a little bit if anybody has any questions. Thank you.